Welcome to another beautiful day at the River House. We're out here primarily to unload some junk, test out the new camera, and then just measure scientifically how quiet the inside of the house is, for a reason I'll explain later. So I managed to acquire some goodies. Yeah, for a while back I was collecting TVs so that I could line them up in a big wall and shoot them with a Confederate cannon with grape shot, and then that fell through. But many folks only remember that I'm collecting TVs, and I still get them. So I grabbed that one because it was a bit of a favor, and then I managed to acquire some scrap steel. Also, we got a bunch of these 6FM 7.2. So they're a 7.2 lead acid backup battery. They were for school's telephone system, I believe. A bunch of them have been torched by an out of control charger. Maybe half still developed somewhere near 7.2 volts, and they haven't been charged now in like 6 months. They were on the rack. So anyways, I managed to pick those up. What I'm going to do with them, I'm not entirely sure, but if you remember last year when I built that spooky noise generator thing, these teamed up with a little solar panel would sure make really nice backup batteries for that. Otherwise, I'm just here to unload the big Sanyo. I don't want to freeze these things, but then I don't want them in my shop either. Well, they still have a scrap value, about, I don't know, 5-6 cents a pound. So I might just take and put them all out here and let God sort it out. Or I might sort them and keep the good ones. But I'm just going to unload some stuff, and then we'll go measure the noise. What do you think, Buster?
Or just put them in here.
That's a great idea.
And also, I picked out a slab. It's a little rotten, but this will make a beautiful table.
Cottonwood.
Beautiful cottonwood table.
I think your first instinct about it being a little rotten is probably the right one, but we'll see. Yeah, the stink is particularly bad today. I'm not sure why. We did haul this down from up above, which I thought was full of extra ceiling tiles to be cut up and stuck to the ceiling. Apparently it's full of mostly rat poo. Big old nest in there. So that could be some stink. I need to kill this fan. We got us an inmate. Dead animals. Now Google will probably demonetize. Don't tell him. He's just sleeping. Mickey and Minnie have been evicted. They managed to eat it all off of that one without setting them off. It's time to rebait. You might have seen this. I can't remember if I put it on this channel or the Blue Smoke Productions channel. If you're a good upstanding person, don't go watch Blue Smoke. You'll think less of us. But when we bought this place, sitting right there were 2 refrigerators. This building had not had power. I mean, the wires physically had been removed. I believe they stole the copper. But they had physically been removed for 5 years. With the most recent anything that we found in here was 2009. And we suspect that it wasn't actually being used or had any sort of power for quite a bit before that. And in one refrigerator was a block of Western Family Original Cream Cheese. No power, no refrigeration, minimum of 5 years. So I opened it. It was perfect. It didn't even smell weird. So I have been using it to bait mouse traps. For the first time, I've got a little mold on it right there. But I have been using this thing to bait these mouse traps. Well, since I started setting the mouse traps. I only just now got a little mold. Twinkies, Western family cream cheese. That's what you want to stock up for the apocalypse with. It's a top tip right there. So the sound, what am I doing? Well, years ago, I wrote a book. Oh wow, there's another one in here. We got two. Years ago, I wrote a book, and it's just your stereotypical, you know, zombie trash novel, right? I gotta be me. I loved it. And my goal was actually to produce a YouTube story serial. And it is out there, if you ever wanted to hear it. Zombie America YouTube channel and all that. And that trap's still there. And what I did is I went about recording my own audio story, and I got a decent quality mic. I actually took the camper and I cocooned. And I did this in the winter time. It was one of our pretty ugly winters, and so there was, you know, a foot and a half of snow on the roof. And I cocooned the inside with blankets stuck to the walls, and I would squirrel myself away after I had, you know, given the kid his bath and put him to bed and read him a story and whatnot, and I'd go squirrel myself away in there for an hour recording and then go back to school. It was a long year. Then go back to school and do whatever I needed to do there in the evenings. But it was a staggering, catastrophic failure basically from moment one. To start with, right, I only vaguely familiarized myself with the needs and requirements of recording spoken audio. And while I made a really, really good attempt and was quite successful at deadening the sound in the camper trailer, there was no place in the house that I could do it. Deadening the sound in the camper trailer, I could only keep it for a few moments at a time. And so every time some hooligan joyrided down the alley, every time a freight train came through, there were all these extra sounds. Additionally, I was a monumental idiot, and I edited the audio as I finished it. So each one, as it was finished, I would try to edit it and do the sound conversion things to it using Audacity, which apparently is not the best, but it did work. Anyways, that resulted in me not actually having unedited original audio files. A staggering, monumental screw up on my part, from which I blindly just pushed on. Rats in here. We're missing another trap. So we've lost a trap. We caught 2 mice. I blindly just pushed on. And when I was all done, and I uploaded them in the ACX audible.com system, and they were all rejected for a variety of issues, primarily noise and volume levels. And there really wasn't much I could do to fix it because they'd all been edited at different time periods using different settings. It was, as I said, a breathtaking, like the French in World War II level failure on my part. So here's where we stand. 3 years to think about it. My goal was never reached, and it ticks me off that I never got across the finish line I set for myself. At one point, I did have a publisher who was going to publish it, but then 3 weeks later, I got the, you know, it's not you, it's me spiel, which means it's me. It always means it's me. I just don't think it was up to their standards, but I don't care. I want my audiobook. So here's where I sit. I found a company that will do it for me. And they say their prices range from about $125 to as much as $300 a finished hour. When I read it, it came in at just over 8.5 hours. I have since added a few chapters and fleshed the book out, so we'll call it 9 hours. So I'm looking at, several $1,000s. We'll say best case scenario is about $1,200. Worst case scenario is over $3. So I'm wondering if I could do it here. It's a 10-minute drive from the house each way. But I could go back to that same scenario where I would come out here and, record for 2 hours in the evening, 4 or 5 hours in the weekends, put a long Sunday out here. To start with, it's much, much, much quieter. Of course, there's a busy road outside. But I think with the doors closed in this room and some sleeping bags hung from some things, I could get it down and get a background tone and get all that squared away. So is it worth it to me to start over from scratch, or do I just want to throw money at the problem, considering that time is one of the things I struggle to come up with? So that's kind of what I'm out here today to do, is find out and think about, could I sit in this room right here, the farthest room from the road with the fewest number of windows, and record my audiobook in this rat infested squalorly hellhole, which is kind of ironic, and whether I just have it in me to do it again. Sorry we didn't work on the river house, but it's still a river house video. Thanks for watching.